As we all know, women living in evil Western capitalist democracies are the most oppressed in the world. And the number one most pressing and relevant issue facing such oppressed women today is catcalling. Acid attack victims in Southeast Asia, sex slave trafficking in the Middle East, genital mutilation in Africa, all those things pale in comparison to the scourge that is men giving unwanted compliments to first world women and making them feel slightly uncomfortable. Fortunately, Buzzfeed has the answer: superpowers. But seriously, it's just yet another video where they demonize men.
Today, I'm going to create my own superpower to deal with catcallers. Kick in the face. You guys didn't see my panties when I did that, did you?
Do you really need a superpower to defend yourself from catcallers? I mean, you already have the big scary Hey Arnold haircut to scare off predators. If that's not enough, maybe you should try painting some eye spots on it.
Catcalling has been going on ever since I came out the womb.
No, it hasn't. Nobody was catcalling you when you were 5 minutes old. And if they were, you don't remember it. Stop lying.
It would usually be teenage boys when I was a teenager. So at the time I kind of took it as flattering. But then as I got older and realized they would literally catcall anything that moved.
Anything that moved, huh? Were they catcalling the spinning wheels on your mother's mobility scooter?
A construction worker said, "Look at the on that."
Why are you so concerned about what some low-life construction worker thinks about you?
I even remember what I was wearing the first time I got catcalled.
Oh, so it's not an everyday thing then now, is it? I mean, if you remember it that clearly, then it must have stuck out to you as an unusual experience, right?
I was 12 and I didn't understand that you couldn't wear a denim jacket as an actual top.
Wait, so were they catcalling you, or were they just telling you not to wear a denim jacket as a top? Because that's not catcalling. Oh, you're not going to finish that anecdote? Okay, well, I guess it's going to remain a mystery whether or not you were actually catcalled when you were 12.
Look at the on her. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're objectifying my boobs, but then you're also objectifying the rest of me.
This is a bit of a red herring, but since we're on the topic, you know what the worst form of objectification is? Being treated as a human weapon and made to sacrifice your limbs or even your life in a war. You know, that thing all men have to sign an agreement saying they'll do if the government tells them just so they can get a driver's license or qualify for federal aid. They say feminism fights for equality, but I don't see a whole lot of feminists outraged over that.
It's always the dustiest dude. It's always the guy who has like the ketchup stain on his white tee.
Oh, so it's always that guy and not all men? You're gonna contradict this statement at the end of the video, aren't you?
They have catcalls down for regular women, but then when they see a pregnant woman, there is sort of this surprise, like, whoa, 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 there's a lady with something in her. I want to put my in her.
Let's be real. Nobody has ever said that to you. I am curious, though. I can't really tell if you're pregnant or just fat, but if you are pregnant, then what are you going to do if your baby turns out to be a boy? Will you bully and mistreat them like other feminist mothers do?
When they catcall me, they try to be polite, like, well, you got nice ankles. I can see those ankles. Those are very moisturized ankles. I see you.
Okay, so compliments are catcalls now. You know, there's a big difference between a guy yelling obscenities at you from across the street and a guy telling you you're pretty because he's hoping you'll go out on a date with him. I mean, he doesn't know whether or not you're interested until he asks, so how is he supposed to know unless he walks up and asks you? Send you a formal inquiry in the mail and wait 30 business days? And if you're not interested, just tell him you're not interested. 99 times out of 100, he'll just say, oh, okay, and walk away. I mean, how do you react when you're at the farmer's market and somebody asks you if you would like to buy some apples?
How dare you try to force your produce on me? This is harassment. I'm not just some walking purse for you to take money from, so stop objectifying me.
I'm not here for any guy that tells me to smile.
Hold on. That sentence should be, I'm not here for any guy who tells me to smile. A second ago, one of you complained about a guy saying, look at the on that. Because saying that instead of her is objectifying and sexist, but now all of a sudden it's okay to call a man a that? Also, since when is it sexist to tell somebody to smile? When your boss tells you to smile so the customers don't feel unwelcome while you're waiting tables at Ruby Tuesday, do you refuse? If so, maybe that's why your male coworkers get paid more.
Like, my face is always resting.
Maybe the rest of you should always be resting. Go to sleep and don't wake up.
Whenever a guy tries to catcall me, I would teleport his mother to the scene of the crime because I would like to say, could you catcall me in front of your mother?
What if his mother didn't give affirmative consent to be teleported? What if she was in the middle of a shower when you suddenly decide to abduct her from her home just so you could self-righteously humiliate a guy for having the audacity to say something nice about your ankles? Will you feel so morally superior then?
When a guy catcalls me, I could make myself invisible, just whispering, objectifying things in his ear and slowly drive him insane.
In other words, you want the power of hypocrisy. Aside from the fact that you already have that power because you're a feminist, how is a guy you can just walk away from catcalling you on the street once in any way equivalent to you harassing him repeatedly over a long enough period of time to make him lose his mind? That's like if somebody bumped into you and your response was to shoot them.
My superpower would be making their pants disappear.
So what you're saying is you want the power to forcibly remove somebody's clothes without their consent. Do you realize how that sounds?
I would fart on command. I know some people say they can actually fart on command. I am not capable of that.
How is that supposed to stop catcalling? If a guy is the type of lowlife who would catcall a woman, he's probably also the kind of guy who's into weird, gross fetishes. For all you know, farting might actually turn him on.
If a man catcalled me, I'd be able to make him feel menstrual cramps immediately.
Why do feminist women always act like they're such martyrs because they have periods? I mean, yeah, that sucks, but you know what also sucks? Having your kids taken from you by a biased family court, being 3 times more likely to be a victim of homicide, spending days working up the courage to admit you were a victim of domestic abuse at the hands of a woman only to be laughed at, being forced to pay child support for a child that isn't yours, being 4 times more likely to kill yourself, and so on. I think if I could choose between all that and having cramps once in a while, I'd take the cramps.
Not only is it going to smell, it's also going to sting the eyes. I think it would sort of have a similar effect to pepper spray.
In other words, you would use a chemical weapon to temporarily blind a guy just because he said something you don't like. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, so first of all, I had no idea there was even going to be a protest. First of all, it was like a male feminist came and stomped on my hand. I was trying to get your hat because he threw your hat.
You took my hat right off.
It's burning really bad.
Oh my God.
Actually. It's burning so bad.
Oh my God. It smells like alcohol. It's all in your hair.
What did we learn today?
Definitely cannot wear a Trump hat in Hollywood.
My hair would turn into snakes as soon as somebody catcalled me. The biggest snake would eat his head and the rest of his body would just stay there.
You're the same woman who complains about guys telling you to smile, right? Which in a video all about catcalling is to imply that telling a woman to smile is somehow a form of catcalling. So your response to somebody telling you to smile is to kill them? I thought feminists were against violence. Oh, that's only when it's violence against women. I see. And they say feminists don't hate men.
Looking at your body makes me so hungry. I just want to eat you like you were a burrito.
Please do.
Hello, Mrs. Jackson. Do you know your son was catcalling me today? He said I had a fat ass.
You know, if I was the kind of guy who catcalled women and my mom knew about it, I don't think she would care. It just seems like kind of a trivial problem in the face of, say, feminists actively conspiring to cover up evidence of domestic violence against men, feminists actively celebrating violence against men, feminists actively lobbying to end fathers' rights, feminists actively protesting conferences about male suicide, feminists actively promoting taxing men for being men, among other things. It's a bit presumptuous of you to assume any woman would side with you just because you're also a woman. Actually, it's kind of sexist when you think about it.
You don't have any pants on.
Oh look, it's the no pants lady again. I hate how Buzzfeed edits their videos out of order just to make them seem more energetic than they really are to make up for a lack of substance. It's like they have 5 or 6 women all weighing in on this topic, but they can't get a video over 4 minutes.
Does he usually still talk like that in front of you? Miss Jackson, do I have a fat ass?
Oh, so it's funny now. What are you trying to say? If my mom looked at your ass like that, you would suddenly be okay with it? What am I talking about? Of course you'd be okay with it. Sexual harassment, violence, and objectification are all okay as long as a man isn't the one doing it. That's what I've gotten from this video so far.
Well, how does it feel to be exposed? How does it feel for everyone to look at your body?
I like how you're acting like this is how women feel when they get catcalled, but there's nothing equivalent between a guy giving you unwanted compliments about your ankles and forcibly removing somebody's clothes without their consent and publicly shaming them. How can you be so lacking in self-awareness that you can't understand why so many people hate feminists now?
You like my How about now?
Yeah, baby. Give it to...
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were doing a thing.
Does your hurt now? I bet you also have diarrhea. Are people honest about that you have diarrhea when you have your period?
Your solution to people saying things you don't like is inflicting physical pain on them. Do you not see a problem with this?
Why don't you smile? If women had superpowers and could use them against catcallers, it'd be a completely different world.
Yeah, that's true. If the world were different, then it would be different.
Most of the time, I usually want to meet these guys' mothers anyway, because I'm like, who raised you to catcall at 2 p.m. on a Monday?
Why does the time and day matter? And again, what makes you think their mom is going to care?
Well, it felt great to have snakes coming out of my hair. I don't even like snakes. But if I don't have to see them and they do all the work for me, then I love snakes.
Is Gorgon gender going to be added to Tumblr's infinite list of gender identities now?
Evolution-wise, men would find a way to get past the superpowers.
They might stop catcalling out of fear, but probably not, because they are men.
Wait, doesn't this contradict something Buzzfeed said in an older video?
Why do you say that women are too emotional to be leaders?
Then justify catcalling by saying men just can't control themselves.
But now BuzzFeed is saying men can't control themselves, as if to imply that men are inherently bad.
They might stop catcalling out of fear, but probably not, because they are men.
Okay, so aside from defeating the common feminist assertion that gender is a social construct by implying that men are naturally predisposed to certain behaviors, wouldn't that make it unethical to publicly humiliate men and bite their heads off for doing something they can't stop themselves from doing? We don't call a lion evil for tackling a gazelle and then try to punish them for it. I mean, I don't agree with the premise that men can't control themselves, but I'm just arguing on your level. If men are inherently catcallers and that's just our natural behavior, as the statement "they won't stop catcalling because they're men" implies, then you can't really punish us for catcalling any more than you could punish a lion for killing and eating a gazelle. And yet, you advocate publicly humiliating and bite the heads off men who do these things.
It's just a joke. This video isn't meant to be taken seriously.
Oh, so jokes that are offensive to men are okay now, but jokes that are offensive to women aren't?
Why aren't you speaking up when you hear your male friends behind closed doors make jokes that are offensive to women?
I mean, if you can argue that rape jokes somehow normalize and promote rape, then I could argue that jokes about violence against men normalize and promote violence against men, who are already statistically 3 times more likely to be victims of violent crime, by the way. So that makes you look like a hypocrite. Remember, kids, feminists don't hate men. They just like to demonize men and tell jokes which, by their own logic, promote violence against them. Okay, so that was another insufferable, hypocritical, sexist BuzzFeed video. If you would like to see more videos like this one, then hit the like button, share this video, subscribe, and support me on Patreon so I can continue justifying the sacrifice of time, effort, and brain cells it takes to sit through BuzzFeed's drivel.